Hi everybody, today I'm going to go over 5 secret features on the GH5S, the Lumix GH5S. I'm going to hypnotize you with it first though. So the first cool thing that's may or may not be a secret about the GH5S, I'll get this right out of the way. You may know about things here that I'm going to mention, but you may not. There's definitely a thing or two you may not know. You may know all of them, but what are you, some kind of expert? So there's 20 function buttons on this camera. 20. That's amazing. They can all be set to whatever it is you want easily with the press of a button, one press. All you have to do is hold in the button. Hold the button in for a second or two, and then it pops up the menu on your nifty little LCD screen right here. And then you can set it to any feature that's in the menu. Pretty much any feature, not pretty much, any feature that's in the menu you can set. I don't know if you can double set a button. Maybe you could make all the buttons all one feature if you want. I haven't tried that. That's something to try. I'll get back on that. Let me know if you've done anything like that in the comments below. So some of the function buttons on this camera are relatively hidden and nifty. And those would be the joystick right here and this other neat little direction arrow pad thing. You can set the left, right, up, and down motions on the arrow pad and the joystick to all be different function buttons. So that's 8 different functions. And you can set those functions to be anything in the menu, once again. I'm not sure if you can press N and use that as a function button as well. And there's another 4 or 5 more on the LCD screen that you can access relatively easy. So that's one of the first hidden features of the GH5S that you may not know about, or a secret. Did I say hidden? Another neat feature that you may or may not know about is how the electronic viewfinder can be set to allow you to use your LCD screen as a trackpad for focusing. You can drag the little focus area just by swiping in the corner like so. But you can also set it so that you can actually drag your trackpad around, which can be kind of hard to do when you're using it. Like, you can't really see too well on the screen. You can turn that up, and if you're doing it like this, your face is really in the way if you're doing it like that. So I'm not sure how that works. So I like the little tracking feature. So you don't have to actually see, you can just track it, like as if it's like a trackpad on a laptop or something. Pretty cool little feature I didn't know about. And here's another little cool thing about the GH5S that you may or may not know about. This would be the third. And that feature would be the display button. It has a cool screen that pops up. I'm gonna turn it on and give you a little peek of that. Oh, it looks like my battery's dead. So right here, as you can see in the screen that I'm showing you right now with future editing, this screen is actually interactive as well. So you can quickly access your white balance, your audio meters, your ISO, and all of those features right at the tip of a finger. So if you thought your function buttons were cool, I think this is even cooler because you can just have a lot of those features that you really want to access quickly all on one screen right there that you can just hit with your finger quickly. So on to number 4. So here's another neat little secret about the GH5S. One thing you probably are aware of is that this has an oversized sensor. It's a 1.8 times crop versus the GH5S's 2 times crop compared to a full frame sensor's 1 times crop. Of course, makes perfect sense because it's a full frame and that's what we're comparing all these to. And so this is a much more sensitive sensor. It can allow 2 times more light, something you may or may not be aware of if you've seen my other video. And it's a 12.5 megapixel sensor. And there's a good reason for why it's a 12.5 megapixel sensor, and I'll explain why. Part of the reason for it is that your video, no matter what format you're capturing it in, it's captured natively on the chip. So the image can appear on a different part of the chip than your HD, or you know what I mean? If you're shooting 4:3, it's going to take up a larger square of the image on the sensor. So I think that's why it has a little more room on that sensor, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's oversized as well. So it allows you to capture more of the frame without having to crop in. But now we're on to the fifth thing. But first, if you have anything to add, any suggestions or anything for videos, anything you don't like, please leave that in the comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know how you enjoy these videos, what you'd like to see more of. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't be afraid. So the last and final filthy secret, sorry, I meant to say fifth secret, just may actually be a secret. It's actually that was four. It's actually a 3-part secret, because I'm going to talk about the I dynamic, the I resolution, and the i.iso. The i.iso allows you to take pictures. I'm not sure if it works in video mode, but anyway, you can set up your photo and have your subject, if he's not moving in the frame, say you're taking a portrait or something, but then that person gets up and dances around or something, and your ISO actually changes a little bit once there's movement. So your camera can sense that in the i.iso if you have that on, which also, we're talking using auto ISO, and you have it in auto ISO, and you might want to turn on the i.iso because it will intelligently see movement in your frame and change the ISO and exposure accordingly. Really cool feature. So the second part of the fifth secret for the GH5S is the I dynamic. And the I dynamic gives you better dynamic range. It'll show you more details in the shadows and maybe a little more in blown out areas. Although overexposing is never really a good idea, underexposing is always a little bit better. You can always recover a little more. So this I dynamic helps you to achieve that without really having to think about it. You can just set between 3 different levels of dynamic range and hopefully improve upon the dynamic range that you have going on. And the very last one is i.resolution. And that one just puts a sharpening. That's probably one of the more secretive of the 3 or of all 5 points, because in the manual, it doesn't even explain what it is. So it is actually just a sharpening. It gives you like a computer, it finds edges on things and just helps you to have a sharper picture artificially, kind of. And that's something I haven't actually turned on and tried out myself. But maybe you could let me know if that worked out for you down below. Let me know if you have any comments or anything to add about any of these tips I've given you down below. And if you've enjoyed this, or if you found it's added any value to your life, just please hit the subscribe and like the video. And if you don't, well, I'll move on. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you next time.